Alright guys, so I'm back again, and what I picked up at a thrift store today, which is pretty cool because I like old computers, is what appears to be a pretty stock Tiger Direct custom build from I think 96, and it's a Pentium compatible machine. Just open it up real quick. But the cool thing is that I don't really want to take the heatsink off because I put some thermal compound on it, is that it runs a Cyrix 6x86 CPU that runs at 110 megahertz. I know that sounds slow today, but back then that was pretty cool. And it's got a S3 Trio, if I can remember what it was. Yeah, Trio 64 GPU, and from what I hear, a pretty shitty sound card, which is a M-Wave sound card. Yeah, and it's got, you know, a game port on it, and actually it's got a combined phone jack, but nobody uses that crap anymore. Yeah, and I added a USB controller, USB 1.0 controller, but the BIOS, given how old the machine is, doesn't really pick it up. That's going to be the operating system that picks it up. So, unfortunately, I had to order me a PS2 to AT adapter because yeah, I kind of threw those out about 3 years ago. Silly me. But yeah, I actually moved these 3 ports up here because I'm actually planning to add some more cards to it. But it boots and all. It's got a Bigfoot quantum drive with 2.5 gigs on it, and whoops, yeah, pretty solid machine. They're pretty solid back then, and I guess they still are. Interesting fact though is that they actually put the power supplies lower on the machines back then. I'm noticing more and more, rather than up here. And nowadays, if you look at a modern machine, they're actually kind of lower now. But interesting is that there's a drive bay up here, which I could only assume is for a hard drive. And then this fan port over here, which doesn't, you know, this size fan down here for these CPUs, I got a bunch of those, doesn't fit in here, so that's unfortunate. I'll have to, if I ever wanted to add another fan, I'd have to find one that fits. I don't know the exact millimeters of what the fan size would be. It actually does come with a second fan up front to force more air in, which is nice, because, you know, back then not a lot of CPUs had fans on their heat sinks. They actually had air. They were passively cooled without fans, or rather without a fan on the heatsink. And it comes with a 3.5 inch drive, which I'm not sure the size of. I could only assume it's 1.5 megabytes, I think was what it was. But yeah, and at some point I'm going to take this power supply out and open it up and clean it, because God only knows what kind of filth is in that. I think it's 200 watts, which I guess is pretty standard for back then. And this thing, my friend tells me, is most likely a cache card, like a memory card for cache, since I assume the CPUs back then didn't have a lot of cache on board, so you would add another card to add whatever level cache that is. And yeah, and it boots, and it's pretty good for $8. I mean, can't complain. I've always wanted another Pentium machine. I used to have an old K6 board. It's my first machine. I still have the motherboard, surprisingly. Kind of stick it out on display. I don't know why it's on the floor right now. But yeah. So that's all fun. And I guess that's it. I'm assuming this 50X disk drive is actually a aftermarket thing, because I don't know if they actually had 50x speed drives in such a low-end machine. My friend says this is a really low-end machine for the time. Which, looking back in history now, it actually kind of looks that way. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It has Windows 95 on this Quantum Bigfoot, which is actually really cool. The hard drive was, they built the hard drives to not be shrunk down to like a 3.5 inch bay, but rather fit into a a 5 1/4 inch drive bay, so that they can cut costs and you can get the same amount of data storage without having to buy a more expensive drive to fit in a smaller drive. So that's cool. I never knew about those until I picked this guy up. So yay for history. So yeah, I guess that's it. I think I'm going to make another video when I get this guy going again. And of course, you got the the secondary power output for the monitor. Oh, those were the days, weren't they? Anyways, see ya.